video was inspired by someone that I was talking to about the nodules in black holes and the theory that all matter comes in and out of the same place in a black hole. And I have something I've come up with and I want to share. So let me know what you think. Now, I started having visions of this cube a year and a half ago, and someone led me to the Mayan cube, and I've applied the Mayan cube to all embodiments, such as the atom and the universe, the galaxy. Pretty much all embodiments are the same exact process, and that's what I'm going to walk you through, is that process of transformation. And it's actually transformation from matter to energy. So you ready? I like to draw. So here was my vision. Okay, this is my vision. Okay, here's the way I understand it. I got to know this, and then I got to know the Mayan cube, and then I started applying this to everything else, and I realized that everything is an embodiment. It's going through a process of transformation. It's just all in different stages, and the information has gotten so complicated that nobody can figure it out. So a dimension, we're just going to say now, a dimension is a measure of something. So this map can be applied to anything, such as your consciousness, the galaxy, the universe, a cell, any sphere has this internal structure. It has 13 different dimensions, okay? Those are just measures of something. Okay, each dimension has four realms. So each of these, one unit, you can break up into 4. However, 7 in the middle is a crossover from a field to a field. So 7 is actually 2 half realms. Okay, so what I need you to understand before we begin is from here down, 1 through 6, magnetic. 8 through 13, electrical. However, right here, this rectangle is the electromagnetic field. The transformation goes from solid to liquid to gas to light and plasma. Keep this handy. So here's what happened. I'll turn it down for you. I like my Kindle comments. Don't go. Here's what happened. This is moments before the Big Bang. A force. Everything is just an accelerated, expanded force. Nothing else. There is no duality. Everything is expanded force. The reason why we think there's duality is because when these collided, they weren't particles colliding either. They were forces colliding. When these collided, they bounced off of each other. Okay, here we go. That bounce created a vacuum. See, if you have 2 forces bouncing off of each other, then right in here, notice that hourglass shape? That's what created the vacuum. Now these are all waves that are colliding. Resonance colliding. And in the center you have a vacuum because of it. Okay? So if this force and this force collide, and this explosion happens, in the center of this explosion you're going to have your vacuum. Now, if you have pure density and ether comes into the vacuum nodule, then it's going to start creating a cavitation. Okay? That's our next shot. Here's what happens when you have a pure dense space that gets ether sucked into it. Okay, now the invisible space in the universe, that's the ether. And when it goes into a nodule of pure density, it's gonna go in and it's gonna start forming the cavitation, and some of it's gonna go this way, some of it's gonna go this way. Now when it enters this cavitation, or enters this, it starts transforming this density into space. And as it's doing that, that's what's creating the cavitation. It's not, there is no such thing as annihilation and a constant transformation that's infinite. How could there be? There is no annihilation. It's transformation. So as you get this invisible space that is of a frequency that is so high that it has no oscillation. It's so fast and it vibrates. The force of it is so expansive that it doesn't even vibrate. It's just a force. So you suck that into one of these nodules of a black hole, you get a cavitation, and then you're going to start getting the internal workings of an embodiment. So right here, see how we have this going this way, okay, this shape. What it leads to after that is this. Some of you will notice this. And here's your nodule. It becomes 0 point. Okay? Now what's happening is the cavitation, you can imagine if this is the cavitation, everything around it is density. All this, and that creates a force field of density around these forces that are expanding to create a cavitation with a 0 point in the center. Now, what happens as things are transformed into light? They exit here at 0 point. They exit the embodiment after they're transformed. So density transforms, exits through this nodule. Okay, so yes, black holes, but it's not a black hole anymore. Now it's like a universe. But here's the thing. Once it is an embodiment, and you get these two forces that work together, because there's no such thing as duality. So all force is force. It's either a frequency so high it doesn't have an oscillation, or a frequency so low it doesn't have an oscillation. When it's a frequency so low it doesn't have an oscillation, then it becomes a vacuum. There's no reverse oscillation. Okay, so we got our 0 point here. Okay, now what's happening because of this going this way, and this is just spin momentum like inside an atom. It's the same thing inside a universe or a galaxy or your consciousness. Like, this is how it works. Okay, so we got one going this way, and then we got the other going this way. So what does that do? That creates a push from these corners, the four corners, okay? So as the space is expanding outwards, the cavitation's expanding, yet it's all density being transformed. So the density is starting to get pushed in as the space expands. And then the external force field is going to start doing an internal conversion. And it's going to start releasing parts of it. You know, that's how it does it. And then replacing with more until it's all sucked through 0 point as light. This might be familiar to some. This is the structure of an embodiment when it's a cavitation. Okay? We got our 0 point here. This is dimension 7. So we've got, you see that? There, right here. Okay, we've got dimensions 5, 6, 7. 7 is, remember, 2 half realms. 8 and 9, so 7 is like a half a dimension. And because we spiral in and spiral out, we spiral, you jump into the embodiment, you spiral into it as force, and then transform everything, and then once you get to having the cavitation, more than half of the external embodiment force field, and it starts spiraling back in and pushing and transforming everything back as light. So it's like it spirals out force and spirals in, transforming matter to light. So here's your dimensions. You've got 1 through 13, like I showed you, right? Okay, so you've got your plasma up here, your gas, then you've got your liquid, and then your solid. So 3, 2, and 1, these are almost purely magnetic. 1 is the magnetic pole. 13 is the electrical pole. Okay? So this is like pure, 13 is like pure starlight plasma. That's what the strings inside everything are made out of. Okay, now, let's do this. Okay, so this is gonna be an electromagnetic field, but this is gonna be a magno-electric field. Does that make sense? Because this is more electricity than magnetism. This one's more magnetism than electricity, but they're pretty close. Now, this right here is where phase conjunction and conjugation is, sorry. Okay, it's only from here to here. This is where that happens. And basically, you get a bounce back and forth until this force has learned how to break through these gates. Because there are gates, people. Lots of them. Okay, so, but this is the mirror reflection point right here. Then you get your phase conjugation. It goes back and forth, okay? So, I hope I'm making sense at this point. Now, the forces, you've got your vertical here. Vertical force is gonna go this way. Horizontal force is gonna go this way, okay? This is where the push comes in. That way, that way. So, here, let me get my marker. Okay, so right here, this is what's gonna start, you're gonna expand space out, but while the space is expanding, the density is moving in and getting transformed to bank into 0 point. So it's all happening at the same time. The cool thing about this is if you were to put a clock around this, you'd have 3 right here, 6 right here, and 9 right here. Going backwards, because the force moves in counterclockwise. So we're actually going back in time, but whatever. But you'd have 3, 6, and 9 right here in this phase conjugation area. So thank you, Tesla and Einstein. Okay, so this force is our, okay, you've got horizontal, vertical force. Our orbit, the way that the density that's being broken up orbits through here goes this way. So our solar system is going this way through this galaxy, okay? Say this is a galaxy embodiment. We're going this way through it, okay? This is the rise and fall of man also, by the way. This full process is 1 cycle. So I think the Mayan calendar said a period was 144,000 days. But when I did some math on it and I started plugging in this as a two half realms, it worked out to where what they were saying was one period was actually one ascending. So I had to double the 144,000 to 288. Okay, and then it all worked out. So you've got one period of rise, one period of fall. Okay, well, this is in a magnetic field, all this. So a fall in a magnetic field, Dark Ages. Rise in an electrical field, Age of Enlightenment. Well, here, let's go to this next shot. This next kindergarten picture I drew on my children's paper with their matte pencils. Okay, so here is that force that was in that. This is our cycle within the cube I just showed you. These are the three wise men the Bible talks about. North Star. The North Star is the point within our cycle through the galaxy, and our galaxy cycle through the universe, because it's all micro to macro. This point right here is the most intelligent point you can get to in the consciousness of that embodiment, is this electrical field up here, okay? Whenever you're crossing through this is when you're gonna get your most intelligent stuff, like Tesla and Einstein. They probably came up with all that here. Well, when this is, 288,000 days, that's like 400 years of just one corner. So you might have had, 50 years in this heightened state. But now, what's going on currently at this moment, what's happening is the density in this embodiment is getting really close to this. And it's going to be transformed into light. That's what the new Gaia is all about. That's what the Mayans were trying to tell us. And that's what the story of the 40 days and 40 nights are, because there's some information that ties to the Mayan calendar where there's a, 20 day periods or something. It's a 40 days and 40 nights. I added it up. It's a 40 days and 40 nights. Well, what happens when these forces are pushing all the density in? The forces pushing the density in feel like waves, because they're pushing light into the center point. It's not resonance off the center point. That's what I thought. It's actually the section pulling everything into center point, and it's moving through us. So these waves coming through our solar system are actually waves from the galaxy that is all moving density through 0 point. So here's what you have. You have this is your peak star area. Now this is dimension like in a consciousness. If you wanted to get in this area right here within your consciousness, you would need to be in consciousness dimension 10, and perception starts at between 3 and 4. Okay. The superposition is not 0 point, people. If you were in 0 point, you would get sucked out of the galaxy. And how could you be in a superposition for the galaxy if you were getting sucked out of the thing? Superposition is 10. Between 10 and 11, that is a superposition, because at 12, you start detaching from reality because you go to a field of ecstasy. But you still have a little bit of magnetic pull right here left so that you can still run the show. So you've got your descending electrical, you're descending through the electrical field, then you're descending through the magnetic field, then you are ascending through the magnetic field, then you are ascending in the electrical field. Okay, so this is the worst area right here. This is the Dark Ages. It's the worst because you're descending, you're in a magnetic field, and this is when the force of nature worked against us. Because even Mother Nature has a hard time processing information in a magnetic field, Everybody does. It's hard to think in a magnetic field. It's a polarity, and it's hard. So, anyway, I'm not going into all that right now. I'll do another video on that one. She's on our side now, I just know that. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Actually, real quick, let's go back to this. Right here, right now we are moving through this cycle that is around 0 point. Like today, this used to be 288,000 days. Right now, we are going through this whole thing in 1 day. You're able to manifest at the 4 corners every 6 hours. Your destiny is set, but you can change your fate at the 4 corners. You fate this. It's cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. So right now, we're like we're right here, circling around 0 point as we speak, with waves coming in. That's why a lot of us have vertigo right now, because the waves are pushing through the density. Okay, now when we get close to this thing, there's a lot of photonic energy here, because it's a light gate. It's a white hole. It used to be a black hole, but now that everything's been transformed and it's not just pure density anymore, it's almost pure space in here now, and everything's getting transformed. There's not much density left. That's why the Milky Way's in rocks. The photonic energy from 0 point works like a nuclear force, a nuclear bond, as things are getting near it. So the core of Gaia, even if Gaia's flat, even if it's not flat, Gaia's internal core, everything is an embodiment with density in it, or with space in it that has a expanding force. So it blows every time. Okay, that's gonna happen. It's not scary. It needs to happen. I'm ready to get out of this crap. I don't know about y'all, but we will go through the 0 point and we will be transformed into light. Now, what's gonna happen too is all of this pushes up, and we've already dropped these magnetic fields. Those are gone. Toss them. We're done. We are now like this. It would be the bottom of the cube now. Okay, and then we're pushing up into more. When you're pure electrical, you eventually transcend that into a transcend star, which is pure consciousness or the ether. Okay, so our new ages next time around are going to be 1 that goes into 2, not polar opposites. That's going to be the new deal. You will spend half of the time as 1, the other half as 2. Badass. Thank God. No more polar opposites. It'll be the same, and then the same. Same. Instead of same, different. Now, the 2, they're not identicals either. They're just complementary. So when something splits, fragments into 2 for down here to experience, it'll just be complementary. It won't be a mirror image, because mirror image is the exact opposite. It's an identical opposite. Twins are not that. They're complementary. Okay, so, we got our 3 wise men. We saw that 4 corners. This was our cycle. Now, here's what happens as we go through 0 point. This is what happens to the force. Okay, this right here would be where 10 was. Okay, on that cube. 10 would be right in here. So this force, it's going to start wobbling because we dropped the magnetic field. The purely magnetic 1 through 3, gone. So what happens when that happens? Levitation. And this starts flipping out. And all of this force that was doing this and this starts merging together, spinning, and it is going to shoot right out during a supernova from the Stargate portal that is also Egyptian goddess Nut. That's what they were trying to tell us with that. See, look. If you turned this, rotated it, Nut would be right here. Okay, her head would be right here, and her third eye would be right there. That's the Stargate. I mean, and we don't even have to do anything. It's just gonna do it. All we have to do as humans right now is get your awareness into the now. Otherwise, you're gonna turn into, you're not gonna exist anymore. You will, but you'll become part of, you'll become part of the ether. You'll go live with God. But if you want to continue to get this party rolling and moving on, you gotta get your awareness into the now so that you can transform into light. And hope that you don't go back into a piece of density somewhere. Okay, so this is gonna start wobbling, and the wobble is just gonna push everything right out that way because of the way things are spinning. Okay, so what's gonna happen? Here's the transformation. When we go through 0 point, our galaxy, when our galaxy goes through the 0 point in the universe, and our solar system will go through one in the galaxy will go through one in the universe will probably go through one in the matrix, and this is something that only happens every never. So you're lucky. Okay, so all the plasma is going to turn into aether, transcend light. Okay, no more oscillation, just pure consciousness, which is dark. Okay, all the gas and the energy is going to turn to plasma. All the liquid is going to turn to gas and hydrogen. And all the really dense solid things are going to end up being liquid crystal. Why? Because they're going to make a 6-electron carbon bond, which we know is possible. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen when we go through 0 point. Here, right here. Okay, we hit 0 point. This is the Earth. The minerals in the Earth and all the metals are going to cause a coil, a Tesla coil. Okay, and it's going to pack so much power as we spin out of the 0 point. It's going to shoot us out, and we're going to turn into a light, but we need atmosphere. So we're going to keep on spinning, and the silica and the water in the ocean are going to give us our new crystal atmosphere. So we will be a light planet with a 6-electron bond atmosphere. Fucking cool. Welcome home. Okay, so there you have it. That is how matter transforms to energy. And that's how you get free energy. You just have to turn density into light. Trying to think if I missed anything. If I did, feel free to email me. It's Sarah Kate Hicks, SarahHicks @gmail.com. Okay. I don't do equations, so hopefully one of you will put an equation to this, because I know this is what's happening. Love you.